Keith Thurman's performance and future. We break it all down next. Please like and subscribe. Help us hit 10,000 subscribers. Leave us a comment. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Sunday Morning Champion on a Monday. I was a little under the weather yesterday. Didn't get to do a show, so we're going to do a full Sunday Morning Champion today on Monday. We got a full episode dedicated to my favorite topic, Keith Runtime Thurman. Thurman is back, and we will get into his performance and some of his comments that he made before and after the fight. But it's a full episode dedicated to what's become my favorite topic, Keith Thurman. Let's get started with his now infamous comment that he made just prior to the fight, the final press conference, where he said that he said, "What did I take a loan? I don't owe you anything." Talking about the fans, saying he doesn't owe the fans any money, or he doesn't owe them any money, but he was saying he doesn't owe them anything. Well, that's a hot take, because here's how it works, Keith. In case you're not familiar, again, here's the exact quote: "I didn't take out a loan. What do I owe you?" It's an interesting take. Well, here's how this works, Keith. You make your money because fans pay to see you fight. Either they pay for the network that you fight on, or they pay to go to your fight live. But that's how you get paid. So if you didn't have those fans, the ones that you say you don't owe anything to, you wouldn't make any money. Why do you make more money than, say, some random club fighter? Because more people watch you. Why does Floyd Mayweather or Manny Pacquiao make more money? And we'll get to Manny Pacquiao. Why does Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao make more money than you do? Because more people pay to watch them fight. It's a very simple equation. And if you'd like to keep that relationship where you fight and you entertain the fans and they pay their money and invest their time in watching you, then you owe them good performances. Otherwise, they won't watch you. This is not new. This is not hard to understand. You're competing for their entertainment dollar. There's a lot of other places they can go. They can watch other fights. They can watch basketball. They can watch baseball. They can go to the movies. There's a million things they can do with their entertainment dollar. They don't have to invest their time and money in you. So what do I owe you? I mean, you don't owe them anything in the sense that you have to come out of pocket and pay them. But if you'd like to keep making millions of dollars, like you've done in the past, so you can go on a 2-year maternity leave and go play the flute in Japan, then you have to fight. And you have to give them good fights. So that's a shockingly dumb comment. It's hard to believe that anyone would actually make that comment, right? Like, he's going to, after the fight, he called out Manny Pacquiao. Now, he's going to want his fans to pay $75 a pop to watch him fight. Why would they do that, Keefy? What do they owe you? What, did they take a loan out? So that comment is unbelievably stupid. I hope his promoter and his team may tell him to go out and issue an apology, because that is incredibly stupid to the fans, the people that he wants to watch his fight. Now, there are about 9,000 fans, so he doesn't draw a whole lot of fans. He's not a very popular boxer, but I mean, he's popular enough. I mean, we'll see when the ratings come in what they are. But let's get into his performance, which was abysmal. The only thing worse than his comment before the fight was his performance in the ring, and it was not good. He was in control for the first 6 rounds. He knocked Josecito Lopez down in the second, had him badly hurt and in trouble. Now, Keith Thurman said he wanted to get Josecito Lopez out in 6 rounds. That didn't happen. As a matter of fact, not only did he not get him out in the 6th round, he almost got knocked out in the 7th round and again in the 8th round. He was in a world of trouble. Again, he was in control of the first 6 rounds, but even at that point, he was getting hit way too often. Right? Josecito Lopez is not an A-level fighter. He's not a B-level fighter. He's not a top 25 welterweight. He isn't. This is not a top-notch name, nor anywhere near it. I mean, he's a guy that got iced. I mean, absolutely iced by Andre Berto. Berto lost to Carras and Victor Ortiz. I mean, so this is not... Look... and this is not any disrespect to Josecito Lopez. He's a tough guy and a good fighter. But there's levels to this. And he is not anywhere near the top level of welterweights. And he gave Keith Thurman that much trouble when every other top name he's fought, every other A-minus level fighter, whether it be Andre Berto, Canelo Alvarez, Marcos Maidana, they all iced him, no problem. Keith Thurman, though, gets life and death. Keith Thurman, who claims that he's the best welterweight in the world, gets life and death. Again, Keith Thurman was... I had Keith winning the fight 115-111. He gets the majority decision 113-113, 115-111, 117-109, which Paulie Malignaggi had comments for that for that score. That was handed in by Tom Streck, who's an awful judge. The fight was closer than that. You could argue that Thurman won the first 6 rounds, Lopez won the last 6, and the fight should have been a draw because that 7th round has to be a 10-8 round for Lopez. And I want to get back to that 7th round. Because through the first 6 rounds, Thurman was in charge, and he was winning the fight, and he was winning the rounds. But he was still getting caught with hooks and right hands. Big, slow, looping right hands. And you could see that he wasn't the same fighter, and then that came crashing down in the 7th. Where in the first 6 rounds, if you had an astute eye, you could notice that, Keith Thurman's winning these rounds wide. He's fighting a guy that's not nearly at his level. And he's getting hit more than he used to. And by the 7th round, everybody could realize that he was in a world of trouble. And he is not at the elite level anymore. The 7th round was absolutely abysmal, was a disaster. He was hurt, he was rocked 10 times in that round. He barely threw a punch until the very end of the round. It looked like it may get stopped at any point, and he took more punishment in the 8th and 9th round. He redeemed himself, boxed well in the 10th and the 11th round. And then Lopez came out, shot out of a cannon in the 12th and won the 12th. So I gave the 7th, 8th, 9th, and final round to Lopez, and I gave the other rounds to Keith Thurman. It was not a crowning moment. And Keith Thurman was saying, I'm going to fight Manny Pacquiao next. You were lucky to get away because you could score that fight a draw. If you really wanted to, you could have scored that fight a draw. Now, I'm not asking for a rematch with Josecito Lopez. Fighting Josecito Lopez is meaningless because he's not the best welterweight in the world and you have a belt. So now you're talking about fighting Manny Pacquiao. Well, let's see where that goes. But I want to get back to that 7th round because Josecito Lopez released a comment saying, if I was in that kind of trouble, if the roles were reversed, they would have stopped the fight on me. That's an interesting point, and I want to break that down. 2 things about Josecito Lopez's comment. They would have stopped the fight on me in that 7th round. A, he's probably right. They probably would have stopped the fight on Lopez. If Lopez was in as much trouble as Keith Thurman was, they probably would have stopped the fight. You could have stopped the fight in that 7th round. And I'm one who kind of is in favor of a quick stoppage, so to speak. Let the guy live the fight another day. And it was touch and go there with Keefy in the 7th round. You could have stopped it. If the ref would have stopped it, some of y'all would have complained that it was too quick, it was too short, but it wouldn't have been a terrible stoppage. It would have been a very debatable stoppage, but it wouldn't have been terrible. They would have stopped it on Josecito Lopez. Josecito Lopez was being outboxed. If he was in that much trouble, if he was unresponsive, stacking around the ring, on Queer Street, not knowing where he was, like Thurman was, and just fighting on instinct, they would have waved it off. Keith Thurman went a very long time without throwing punches. It would not have been inappropriate to stop the fight. However, so I agree with Lopez on that point. What I want to do is flip that around and say, B, they didn't stop the fight. Lopez Thurman regained himself, fought hard, won some rounds. I thought I had him winning the 10th and 11th, and redeemed himself and won the fight. So it's not that just Thurman won the fight, which is why they shouldn't have stopped it. He actually came back and I thought won some rounds. I haven't seen the official scorecard to see what round was given to what fighter, but I thought Thurman won the 10th and 11th after losing 7, 8, and 9, almost being stopped in 7 and 8. No one really points out how badly he was hurt. He was hurt again in the 8th round. Let that be known. I thought that Lopez was going to win that fight. I thought there was no way Thurman's getting through this. But he did. So credit to him on that. He's a tough guy. But again, he didn't look good. I mean, there's no excuse. There's no reason for him to be getting hit with those lefts. So to get back to Lopez's comments, I do agree that they probably would have stopped the fight on Lopez had he been in that much trouble. But do you really want that kind of win, Josecito Lopez? I guess you don't care, but that would be half a win. You know what I'm saying? Because he was good enough to continue as he showed, and he got his legs back and fought on. So again, yes, that fight may have been stopped on you, but it was the right decision not to stop it. Although you could argue, and it wouldn't be ridiculous, that they could have stopped at that point. But Thurman came back, but he didn't come back in the 8th, and he didn't come back in the 9th. He really hadn't regained himself until the 10th, and then he gave the 12th round away. I don't know what his corner was telling him. I guess he did have the fight won. I thought it was way too close to do that. I had it from 115, 111. Again, a couple close rounds in there that could have went either way. So where does Keith Thurman go now? He was talking himself up like he's the best welterweight in the world. That's obviously not true. At this point, no one in their right mind thinks he can beat either Errol Spence or Terence Crawford. So those guys are out. He was mandated, he had the option to fight Sean Porter for the WBC belt. He ain't going to opt for that right now. Not after the way he fought. So Errol Spence, could you imagine, like if a B minus C plus fighter like if a C plus fighter like Jose Cesar Lopez could chop you down and get to you like that? Could you imagine what a world class seek and destroy fighter like Errol Spence could do? Like, could you imagine? Errol Spence would beat the snot out of him bad. Like, it would be the end of his career. If he went out and fought like the way he did on Saturday against Errol Spence. Like, think about how Lopez was able to break him down. Think about what Errol Spence would do to him, right? And he's thrown his big, Lopez thrown his big looping right hands and these big wide left hooks. Nothing straight, nothing down the pipe. And those were hitting him. Could you imagine what a sniper, what a precision puncher like Terence Crawford could do to him? I mean, Terence Crawford would land 60% of his punches on him. It would be a nightmare. I mean, that would be a hellacious beatdown which his corner would have to stop. So he's not even in the realm of fighting either of those two guys. So you can get that out of your mind right now. So where does he go? Okay. Now I'm hearing on social media and stuff that saying this was good for a comeback fight. Was it? Because he fought a C-plus guy and nearly got knocked out in 2 rounds. How is that a good... Like, if that's a good performance, what would a bad performance look like? Like, what would you say? That's a bad comeback fight. Yeah, he got the win, but that was a bad comeback performance. See, so the people who say that that's a good comeback performance, they're kidding themselves. They're joking themselves. They're dangling a carrot in front of their own face. That was not a good performance. There was absolutely nothing you could like about that performance. It was awful. He almost got knocked out by a guy who was put in there to make him look good. Come on, it was a good performance. It was awful. I mean, no one thinks he's good anymore. He's not relevant. At this point, I wouldn't rank him anywhere near the top 10 welterweights. If you think that performance, that guy that we saw, that came out, is better than Sean Porter, get out of here. He would get knocked out by a seek and destroy guy like the Mean Machine. Kavasakis would knock him out. Yeah, he won't get in the ring with those guys. Look, Keith Thurman was never a good, fundamentally sound defensive fighter. He was highly athletic with great legs and great reflexes. And he could avoid punches like that. He could avoid punches and avoid big shots based on his natural athleticism and reflexes. Those legs and those reflexes aren't what they used to be. Maybe it's because he's 30, maybe it's because of the layup. But he ain't what he used to be. You want an example? I'll give you 2 of them. Sergio Martinez. Once he slowed down, once his legs weren't better than everyone else's, he started getting knocked out and started getting beat up. It's true. Think about it. Want another example? Roy Jones Jr., the best athlete in the history of boxing, one of the great fighters ever. Right? The best fighter of his era, maybe. Probably he is the best fighter of his era and one of the best fighters of any era. Once his legs slowed down, against Tarver, against Road Dogg Johnson, he started getting knocked out. Because his legs and his reflexes, which he relies on, isn't the same. It's like when a fastball pitcher in baseball loses a couple mile per hour off his fastball. Well, now they're hitting home runs off him. What I was blowing past you, now they're hitting out of the park. It's the same kind of thing with boxers. You never learn proper defensive responsibility because you can rely on your reflexes and your natural speed. Now you're getting caught with shots. Now you're getting caught with shots that you never used to get caught with. And it ain't going to get better. You're not going to get your legs back. Once they're gone, they're gone. Or you're not going to get young. You're not going to wake up and find yourself to be 27 years old again. You're 30, and you're only getting older. Sorry. We've now seen the best of Keith Thurman. The best of Keith Thurman is past. And that's unfortunate. What's the line from A Bronx Tale? There's nothing sadder in the world than wasted talent. And that's what we got with Keith Thurman. His whole prime, those 3 years of his prime, he fought, twice. Took a split decision over Garcia and a unanimous decision over Porter. That's it. That's his entire prime of his career. The rest of it, he sat out. So he got no one to blame but himself. So where does he go from here? Bought Manny Pacquiao. And I think it's a cash-out fight, right? Because if it wasn't a cash-out fight, he'd fight the best. He'd go fight Errol Spence. He'd go fight Terrence Crawford. He'd go fight Sean Porter. But it's not. He's a cash-out. He's made money. He'll make a ton of money in a Pacquiao fight. He'll probably make $10 million in the ballpark of $10 million to fight Manny Pacquiao. And he's done. He'll walk away. Take his L. He'll get knocked out by Pacquiao. And he'll go away. He'll go into irrelevancy. It's really a sad ending for Keith Thurman. It really is. Right? Because, right now, if you looked at 40-year-old Manny Pacquiao's performance over Adrian Broner, which I argue was clearly better than Sean Porter's performance against Adrian Broner, right? So 40-year-old Manny Pacquiao is better than Sean Porter ever was. And Keith Thurman had a 50-50 fight with Sean Porter, which I scored for him. I did. I had 115, 113, just like the judges. But he had that kind of life and death fight with Porter, who's not as good as Manny Pacquiao. And now that Thurman isn't nearly as good as the Thurman who stepped in the ring. Well, obviously with Porter, right? Thurman now is not nearly as good as Thurman who fought Sean Porter. Well, that guy that's better than Sean Porter beats the heck out of me. Let's be real. If you think Keith Thurman is better than Manny Pacquiao at this point, what you're saying is this. I thought Keith Thurman looked better against Josecito Lopez than Manny Pacquiao looked against Adrian Broner. That's obviously ridiculous. That's clearly ridiculous. You know it is. So, what do we have? We have a Keith Thurman who can't be any top name in the welterweight division. Still claiming he's the best. But he doesn't even believe that, and he's looking to cash out against Manny Pacquiao. It is what it is, fellas. The best of Keith Thurman is long gone. And I know we didn't get to see a whole lot of him. He faked a bunch of injuries. He had a bunch of whatever. He took some time off, and now he's talking about he's dealing with depression. Look, I pray for him. He needs Jesus Christ more than he needs boxing or money. If he's suffering that kind of depression, there's only one avenue to go to cure that. That's Jesus Christ. So I'll pray for Keith Thurman. I don't hate Keith Thurman. I don't have any dislike for Keith Thurman as a person. I'm just letting you know that the best of Keith Thurman is gone. There's nothing sadder than wasted talent. That's true about Keith Thurman. That is a tag that applies to Keith Thurman. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think he's going to fight Pacquiao next? I do. Do you guys think it's a cash out? I do. Do you guys think he'll win? If you think he'll win, is it because you thought his performance against Josecito Lopez is better than Pacquiao's performance against Adrian Broner? If not, what are you basing that off of? Because he doesn't have any other fights in the last 2 years to base it off of. So you're just going off your feelings. But let me know what you guys think. Leave your thoughts, comments below on everything that is Keith Thurman. For a very special edition of Sunday Morning Champion on a Monday. This is 3D Boxing signing off, saying thank you and God bless.
Enjoy 3D Boxing vlog videos? Show us some love by clicking the like button. Don't miss a tweet, post, story, or video. 3dboxingvlog.com is also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hit the subscribe button now to stay inside the ring.